They said labubu dolls were cute. Mine moved on its own before I even unboxed it. You're listening to Murmurs and Mysteries, where innocence has teeth. If you like stories like this, I'd really appreciate a sub. Now, let's get back to today's story. I've always had an obsessive personality, not in the dangerous way, at least not at first. It started with stamps, then coins, then rare manga. And when the hype around designer toys exploded, I naturally spiraled into that too. Labubu dolls were everywhere. Cute, weird, a little grotesque, like a Furby bred with a nightmare. And the resale prices? Insane. I told myself I'd just buy one. Just one. The first one I got was sealed in a box, covered in pink stars, its mischievous smile pressed against the plastic window. I placed it on my shelf next to some limited edition Funko Pops, but something about this one felt different. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and find it facing a different direction. At first, I blamed my cat. Then I noticed it would be on a different shelf, or lying on the floor, always face up. I didn't tell anyone. Instead, I bought another. This one had dark eyes, almost hollow. When I opened the box, it smelled like burnt plastic and something faintly sweet, like decayed fruit. I remember thinking, they shouldn't smell like anything. But the label said authentic, so I let it slide. That's how it begins, you know. You don't realize you're being pulled in. Soon I was scrolling auction apps at 2 a.m., chasing obscure variants from Hong Kong, Taiwan, collectors in Germany. Some listings were vague, photos blurred, names scratched off, just captions like, "You know what this is?" or "Don't open after 3 a.m. I laughed at first, until I noticed something disturbing. Some of the dolls weren't in the official catalog, no record of them anywhere, but they'd appear in forums, in group chats, even in TikToks, usually with warnings. One of them had tiny writing carved into its plastic chest, right under the shirt. I had to use my phone flashlight and zoom to read it. It said, "I see you." I still didn't stop. And that's when I received a private message on my collector app. No profile picture, no username, just this: "He's already in your house. Stop buying them." Tried to ignore the message. I even convinced myself it was just some troll trying to scare me out of a bidding war. But something about it stuck with me. The phrasing, "He's already in your house." Not it, he. That night I boxed up all my labubu dolls, sealed them tight. I even labeled each one with the date and variant name, like I was organizing something clinical, contained. I didn't sleep. Every sound made me flinch. The hum of my fridge, the creak of the ceiling, even my own heartbeat. At 3:12 a.m., I swear I heard whispering. Not words, just movement, shuffling. I got up, walked out into the living room and froze. One of the boxes was open, the pink one, the very first labubu I ever bought. It was out of the packaging, sitting cross-legged in the middle of the rug, just sitting there, smiling. I stared at it for a long time. I didn't move, I didn't breathe, because right then I realized something. I hadn't just collected these dolls, I had invited them. I grabbed my phone to snap a photo, but before I could, it tipped over, on its own. No wind, no vibration, just fell forward, as if it knew I was watching. The next day, I threw every doll into a storage bin and duct taped it shut. I left it in the garage, spent the whole day at work pretending everything was normal. But I couldn't stop checking my phone, refreshing my camera feed. At one point, the motion sensor in the garage triggered. When I opened the app, the feed was static, only for a second. But in that second, I swear I saw a flash of a face. Not a labubu, mine, staring right back at the camera. Only, I wasn't in the garage. After what I saw on the camera, I stopped going in the garage. I told myself the app had glitched, that it was some reflection, anything to avoid the truth. But denial only works until it knocks on your door. That weekend, I got a message from someone I used to trade with online. He'd stopped collecting months ago, disappeared from all the forums. But now, suddenly, he was back. His message was simple. You still have them, don't you? Don't let them touch your mirror. I called him immediately. He didn't answer. But 5 minutes later, he texted again. It's not your reflection anymore. I didn't respond. I didn't have to. Because when I looked up from my phone, I saw something in the hallway mirror. Not a figure, not a shadow. A labubu doll, standing on the shelf behind me. Only when I turned around, the shelf was empty. That night, I dreamed of cardboard boxes stacked in a spiral, climbing into darkness. Each box was labeled with usernames I recognized. Collectors, reviewers, people who had vanished. Each one whispering the same phrase through the corrugated walls. He belongs to us now. I woke up drenched in sweat. My phone was in my hand, open to a listing I hadn't searched for. A new variant, one I'd never seen before. The photo was blurry, but in the corner, barely visible, was a cracked mirror, and inside it, a reflection of me, smiling. The algorithm had me pinned. Every other scroll on my feed was another listing. Rare labubu drop. Last one. Price will only go up. They weren't even subtle anymore. These weren't ads. These were warnings. And I was already addicted. I told myself it was just to watch the market, just to stay aware of resale trends. I wasn't even planning to buy. But when the seller posted one with unopened, never touched, from a private collector in Hong Kong, my heart skipped. The image was low res, but the shape was unmistakable. One of the older designs, the ones with stitched mouths and no pupils. The caption read, "Box has slight damage, doll inside. Moves sometimes, lol." I clicked instantly, not out of fear, out of need. I messaged the seller, still available. They responded immediately. If you're serious, I'll send you the link. Don't share it. The site wasn't anything official. It wasn't even a storefront. Just a single dark page with the doll's photo. $666. No shipping info, no user account, just a PayPal button. I didn't even hesitate. Within 2 minutes, I got an email confirmation. No tracking number, no receipt, just, it's already on its way. The box arrived 4 days later. No label, no sender. Inside, beneath layers of crinkled tissue paper, was the doll. Its paint was flaking. One ear was bent backward. It looked older than it should have, like it had been somewhere. When I picked it up, it was warm, like it had just been held, and it was smiling. Its mouth was frozen wide, lined with sharp, jagged teeth. I didn't sleep the night it arrived. Not because I was scared, because I couldn't stop watching it. I put the doll on a shelf across the room, half out of frame on my webcam, like a silent co-host during my late-night editing sessions. At 3:12 a.m., the feed glitched. Just for a frame, a flicker, a freeze. Then the screen returned. But the doll had moved. It was subtle, barely noticeable unless you were watching for it. Its head had tilted, just slightly, enough to break the symmetry of the previous frame. I rewound the recording over and over, looking for a breeze, a shadow, a string. Nothing. I left the room to clear my head. When I came back, the monitor was off. I hadn't touched it. And on the screen, before it powered down completely, was a single word in static font, burned into the LCD for just a second. Look. No source. No file. No explanation. The doll hadn't moved again. But now, I was sure it was watching me. The next morning, I showed my coworker the footage. He laughed at first, said it was probably a prank or a corrupted video file. But when the playback glitched again, same timestamp, same frame drop, same blurred face, his smile faltered. He leaned in. Is that one of the dolls? I hadn't noticed it before. Behind the chair, just in the corner of the frame, almost lost in the static, sat a labubu. One I didn't recognize from the office shelf. Not the rainbow one. Not the forest one. This one was darker, moldy green, with sunken black eyes. It wasn't there during filming. It wasn't there at all. We checked the office shelf. Only 2 were accounted for. The third, the green one, wasn't part of the collection. I'd toss the whole set, my coworker muttered. I didn't. Instead, I went home and started digging. There were forums, threads buried deep in old image boards, Chinese message boards, obscure Discord servers. People shared similar stories, labubus that moved, eyes that shifted in the dark, packages that arrived unmarked, gifts from sellers they never contacted, dreams of desert temples, a name whispered in sleep, Pazuzu. One post stood out. It was dated 7 years ago and simply titled, "Don't collect them all." The user claimed that each version represented a vessel, colors and variants masking something older, something ritualistic. When enough were brought together, they invited him, Pazuzu. There were no replies. The user never posted again. That night, the third doll was on my shelf. That night I had the dream again. I was in the same desert, bleach white sand, air buzzing like a microwave. The sun never moved and the wind howled a language I couldn't understand. But this time, something was waiting. A figure, crouched in the sand. Not a man, not a doll, something in between. Its limbs were too long, skin tight and hairless like a wax figure left to melt. Its head twitched like an insect, flicking left, then right, then still. Rows of labubus were lined up in the sand behind it, half buried, glass eyes staring into the heat. Each one a different variant: magician, zombie, sailor, astronaut. Each one smiling. It didn't speak, but I knew what it wanted. It was pulling me closer, not with hands, but with permission, like I'd already agreed. It raised a hand and pointed behind me. I turned around and saw myself standing just a few steps back, holding a labubu, cradling it like a newborn, smiling. I woke up gasping. The green labubu was on my chest. I started digging. Forums, archive sites, Discord channels, old eBay listings. There were whispers of a group, the Collector's Code. Not an official club, more like a digital seance. People trading stories, sightings, even rituals connected to the dolls. Some posts were obvious trolls, but others felt too personal to fake. One account stuck with me. A user named Yumiko Rusted wrote, "My labubu didn't arrive in a box, no tracking. Just showed up on my desk after I posted in the thread. It watches me sleep. I can't remember ordering it, but I would never give it back." That comment had 3 likes and a dozen replies asking, which version? No one seemed disturbed. Another post showed a picture of someone's shelves, dozens of labubus. But if you looked closely, some weren't official releases. Wrong eyes, too many teeth, hands with tiny nails. There was one comment beneath that photo: "You've almost completed the circle." I didn't know what that meant, but I checked the username. It was me. At 3:14 a.m., I got a push notification from the Labubu app. New drop. Midnight variant, only 13 available. I didn't remember downloading the app. Still, my finger hovered over the notification. It opened to a timer. 0013. 12 remaining. I tapped, "Buy now." The screen glitched, just for a moment. The animation stuttered, reversed, then played again. My phone buzzed. Order confirmed. Thank you for completing the circle. The room felt colder. Then, My camera opened by itself, front-facing. I was staring into my own reflection. But behind me, over my shoulder, a small shape, perched on the shelf, grinning. And when I turned around, there was nothing there, except one new box, unopened, still warm. I don't know how much time has passed. Days, weeks. I've been on autopilot, doing things I don't remember deciding. All I know is there was another box on my doorstep. No label, no return address, just a sticky note, handwritten, final delivery. I should have burned it, but something told me it wouldn't matter. The address inside was only 5 blocks away. I walked, every step heavier than the last. When I got there, the building felt off, too quiet, like the silence had weight. Unit 305. I knocked. No answer, so I left the box on the floor. Turned to leave, but the hallway behind me wasn't the same. It had stretched. The doors multiplied, all of them marked 305. Then they appeared, dozens of labubu dolls lining the corridor, sitting perfectly still, identical, staring. I backed away, and all the lights went out, except one. It flickered above a single doll, cracked open. Its face was split down the middle, like something had forced its way out. The plastic looked soft, fresh, still warm, like it had just been born. That's when I understood. I didn't just collect them. I spread them, carried them like seeds. I was the vessel. The dolls were the shells, and whatever Pazuzu is, it doesn't haunt places. It haunts people. It uses people. Each delivery, each box, was a piece of it. And now, something's inside me. It watches through me, moves when I don't. And when I sleep, I dream of glass eyes, of stitched mouths, opening, growing wider, sharpening, like something old is smiling through me now. And I can't stop smiling back.